over the 4th of July holiday weekend, the Utah Highway Patrol, they sent out extra troopers to help patrol the roads. Obviously, they're trying to make sure everyone is safe out there. They were looking for aggressive drivers, drunk drivers as well. And that doesn't stop now that the 4th of July holiday is over. We got a lot of summer left. Joining me right now is Lieutenant Zach Randall of UHP to explain how things are going. Lieutenant, thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so how was the 4th of July weekend from UHP's perspective?
Yeah, I'd say it was pretty good. We did have over 200 crashes statewide that we handled, one fatality. But the good news is that we are at a 6-year low as far as fatalities go. So we're right in the middle of the 100 deadliest days of summer. At this point last year, we had 38 fatalities. This year, we're at 29. So we are on a positive trend, seeing some progress, but still a lot of room for improvement, of course.
Covering news here now for 5 years for me, we do keep track of those numbers saying, hey, are we on par with last year? Are we doing better? Are we doing worse? So that's good news. We're doing better at this point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any good progress is we'll take it, but like I said, there's always room for improvement, and we'll keep working until we get those fatality numbers at zero. That's the ultimate goal. So.
With the 4th of July holiday, that's a big one, obviously.
Yes.
But here in Utah, we got 2 big July holidays.
Yeah.
We got Pioneer Day coming up, and then of course, we still have a lot of summer left. What is it about summer that could potentially be more dangerous for people out there?
Yeah, it's just a busy time. Kids are out of school. The weather is nice. People are out doing their recreating, those summer activities, and so all those things culminate together. And when you have more cars on the road, traffic increases. You're going to see, the number of crashes go up, and so that's kind of the recipe that we see, and that's the reason.
How do you all go about trying to crack down on drunk driving? Obviously, people, if they see something, I'm sure hopefully they report it. But what else do you guys do to try and kind of curb that problem?
Yeah, well, there's a number of different things that we do. We'll do organized DUI blitzes. For instance, this past 4th of July weekend, we had several DUI blitzes around the state. Not just UHP, but a lot of times we'll involve other agencies and partner up with local departments to get more troopers and more officers out on the roadways. They'll be specifically looking for impaired drivers. And so beyond that, just trying to get the message out there for people to plan ahead, make the conscious decision before they go out if they're going to be involving alcohol as part of their plans to look ahead and plan for a sober ride if, no matter what it is they're celebrating. If they don't plan ahead, then basically they're planning or setting themselves up for potentially getting arrested for a DUI or worse, causing a crash and injuring themselves or someone else.
And I apologize if I missed this, but do you all do checkpoints? Does that still happen?
Not very often. For the most part, we'll do DUI blitzes where we'll just saturate an area, send troopers out to make a high number of traffic stops, looking specifically for impaired drivers. But checkpoints are still used, but not very commonly.
Okay. When it comes to those blitzes, or whatever method you're using, is it better to announce it, or is it better to just sort of do it?
Well, we've found that no matter how much we announce it and publicize it, there are still going to be drunk drivers out there. And so as much as we can get the message out there, we would love it if we put the message out there and announced, hey, we're going to be conducting a DUI blitz. We're going to have extra troopers, extra officers out there on the road specifically looking for impaired drivers. We would love it if everybody got that message, and it's great when we see a low number of DUI arrests. That means that we're doing something right, but that's not the case. We could announce it as much as we possibly can, which we do. We try and spread the message, but we still run into impaired drivers, and so not everybody is getting the message, unfortunately.
One of my favorite questions for public safety officials when we're doing these types of stories is, how do you get the message to sink in? Because either people aren't paying attention, or not everyone's listening. I don't know, is there something, I'm going to ask you that, I've never been able to ask you that. How do you try to get this message to really sink in? Because when people hear it over and over, maybe they tune out.
Yeah, It's hard. We try a lot of different ways. Different media outlets, different mediums of communication. But unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't get through to people, and they do have to learn the hard way. Which the bottom line is they'll run into us and have to experience a DUI arrest or they're involved in a crash that involved as a result of their impaired driving, and so. That's a tough one. We try to get the message out as best we can, but ultimately it comes down to individual responsibility. Drivers need to be aware of their own actions and again plan ahead and take the accountability. So.
Let's talk about teen drivers for a second. You talked about that during the break with me. Teen driving any time of the year can be a concern for parents. But why is summer perhaps a little bit different as well?
Yeah, same reason for everybody else. School is out, teens have a little extra time on their hands, and they're out doing those same things that attract other people to get out on the roads more. Summer activities where the weather's nice, they want to do those outdoor recreation activities. But yeah, teen drivers, they make up a small overall portion of our drivers out on the roadways, but they make up a large portion of the fatalities that we see. So teen drivers make up nearly a quarter of the fatalities that we deal with.
Whether it is being involved in a response or maybe you've even had to make a notification, I'm sure you have personal stories that when you say maybe relay those to parents, is that a good way to get the message across to parents?
Yeah, we hope so. Unfortunately, it's not the most pleasant message that we have to share, but it's important. Teen drivers, a lot of times they don't grasp the seriousness of what it actually means when they get behind the wheel, and so we definitely try to convey that message that you are driving down the road with a multi-thousand-pound vehicle that you're in control of, and so if you're not doing it responsibly and safely, that can have dire consequences.
When it comes to overall drivers, is there one particular part of the summer that is more active than others? Is it perhaps the July 4th holiday or something different?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we see one particular holiday more than others. We just generally look at it as the summer as a whole. That's why we call it the 100 deadliest days of summer when you go from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And so during that, we definitely see a spike in the number of crashes and fatalities. And so, every year we really focus on these 100 deadliest days of summer and really try and get all of our efforts out there to drive those numbers down.
And then, real quickly, we don't have too much time left. Let's just talk about speeding in general. In my experience, it's anecdotal. Man, Utah drivers, they like to go fast. What do you have to say about speed out there?
Yeah, speed is definitely one of those contributors that we see in a lot of the fatal crashes that we investigate. You pair speed with aggressive driving, impaired driving. Those are all recipes for crashes to happen. And so plan ahead. That's something that we always tell drivers. Plan ahead. Expect that you're going to run into some delays, especially during the summer. You have construction season in full swing and more people out on the roadways, and so you're probably going to run into some delays. Just give yourself some extra time so that you're not, apt to speed. You don't become, a little agitated, and your driving habits don't become aggressive.
Yeah.
So again, speed's an easy one. It give yourself a little bit more time so you're not in a rush, so you can keep those speeds down where they should be, and that's going to overall contribute to keeping yourself and everybody else around you safe.
Yeah, don't become agitated. We don't need more road rage.
Exactly, we do not. Yeah, aggressive driving or aggressive behavior and driving are not a good combination.
All right, Lieutenant Randall, thank you for coming in and just chatting about this with us. We know there's a lot of summer left, so thank you for doing what you do to try and keep everybody safe.
Appreciate it. Thanks for letting us share our message.